Hello, everybody in the streaming world. We are the Podguyz Podcast, bringing it to you live as we do every Monday, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. We're a tiny bit early, 5 minutes early. Go
Okay, all
figure.
right.
I'm Tony Cass.
Kevin Neri here.
Of course, we have the ever-loving Picasso, the dreamer of red and blue, the lover of me and you, Le Sparke.
I think that rhymes. And Sparky's got the nose glasses on right there. He's got the words high there on the Sparky big board. Sparky has been sporting these new reading glasses, and it's just it's a weird look there, Sparky. I'm not used to it. I want you to get like
I like it, Spark. I think you look
right.
very, very demure.
Yeah.
Guys, we are joined today by a Foursquare. We have an impeccable guest with us today. You may know him as Randy Andrews.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir.
Stumbled in the right room.
It's
good.
We always ask every particular guest, what is your claim to fame?
Yeah, so I am a nationally touring entertainer. I specialize as a comedy hypnotist. I've done motivational speaking, event DJ, MC work. But yeah, really just the comedy hypnosis. That's where I carve my niche at.
Now, pre-show, we actually had you hypnotize Sparky, and we're ready for this now.
Perfect.
No, we didn't. I know. You were ready. You were ready for this.
I was fired up for it.
Would you be able to hypnotize Sparky from this distance away, or is it merely impossible because we are on Zoom right now?
If he scooted a little closer to the camera, maybe. But
Sparky, get closer to the camera.
Come actually, during the pandemic, that was one of the tricks of the trade that us artists who make a living doing this, we had to figure out how to do this virtually.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And honestly, it freaked me out a little bit. The first virtual show I did, I was in Iowa, and I was doing a college show with about 75 students down in San Antonio, Texas. And I said, in the event that you lose track of me, good luck.
Do not call 911. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Seek a professional.
Yeah, just run. They'll wake up.
What if you were glued to a chair or something?
Well, if I was it'd be a little uncomfortable eventually. But that's actually one of the bits that we do occasionally, just to prove, like, hey, you don't think you're hypnotized. Try to stand up, and they think that they're glued or magnetically sealed to a chair, and it's a fun little bit occasionally, but it's kind of tired and a little old for my likings. But
so I know from my not necessarily my personal experience, is it true that if not everyone can be hypnotized if they don't want to be hypnotized? Is that statement true?
Yeah, so there's only three types of people who can't be hypnotized. One, if you don't want to, consent's kind of key. It's like all good things in life, gotta want it. Two, if you try too hard, you become too analytical, and you gotta let your creative processes work through. And the third type are the people who don't have a high enough IQ, which you run into that. Usually they're the people who are sending out those political mailers that we're in love with right now.
Yeah.
Love those things. Yeah. I'm making homes for the homeless right now with all my macrame.
I like it. It's giving back.
Of course.
So is there a state that you avoid, Mississippi, that you wouldn't really want to go to, Alabama, to avoid the non-intelligent people?
Iowa.
That's why I'm nationally traveling. Iowa, we're limited here. We're a little far out, but no, actually, one of the first shows I did was down in Alabama, at a college out in Birmingham.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know about this, and I went down there.
No.
What's that third time again? Oh my god!
It worked out.
You should be in some form on this right now, Spark.
It worked out. I wore some flannel. I kind of blended in, and it turned out to be a really great show. I followed it up with a holiday show in Mississippi for Mississippi State, and it was the professors there, so they're of average intelligence, which worked out.
Wait, what was the professor's name? Do you happen to know?
I don't actually, not off the top of my
I like
head.
the blend in ability right there. Like when you pass the Mason Dixon line, you just like turn your hat backwards, like, all right, we're good.
It's kind of right about here. I say back,
There
put it in
you
my
go.
chin.
Yeah.
It's like flexing the Sylvester Stallone backwards over the top.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, the over the top moment where Rocky's now arm wrestling. You know,
My
there's
music-
I always say that there's Sylvester Stallone, all he has ever really played is Rocky. So there's the Rocky series, and then there's PTSD Rocky, which is Rambo. And then
Yep.
there's Rocky can't get custody of his kid, and he drives truck right now because he got kicked out of boxing. All he knows how to do is arm wrestle. Over the top Rocky, and then there's Rocky that never really moved out of his house, but he does some detective work right now. Stop or my mom will shoot Rocky. He's literally just been Rocky the whole time.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get on to that because that will be a fucking hour-long run-on sentence. That'll
It's okay.
just
We have some time.
It'll just keep going. So what was your most interesting show that you could just come up with right now, where right on the spot, no thought about it, where you can just go, and this is what I had the person do while hypnotized?
So I got two actually different directions I go. The most interesting was I did the National FFA convention. We did 3 sold out shows, and I had audiences of 3,500 per show.
And then elaborate a little bit on what that is. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So they used to be known as the Future Farmers of America, and then they realized let's just shorten this down to an acronym that doesn't stand for anything. But yeah, it's essentially high school kids who are looking at going into the agricultural field.
Okay.
Cool.
And they do their national convention once a year around about this time in October in Indianapolis. 3 sold out shows, 3,500 kids and chaperones there. I had 30 volunteers on stage, and they were all teachers, and I hypnotized all 30 of them. And I look out in the crowd, and there's about 200 kids in one show that were up acting out as if they were on stage, and they were hypnotized. They're like, I don't have any, no one can help me with this. So it's a show within a show at this point. And actually there was one show there. I did a bit in there where I had a dog die in their minds. And I had this girl screaming, freaking out. And I had to go out into the audience to bring her on stage for safety purposes. And that was a lot of fun. And then I did a couple of casino shows with adults. When you do casino shows and it's adult content, you get away with some crazy things. Men giving birth on stage and then losing their kids.
It does get a little interesting with casino shows. I'll give you that because and it depends which casino you're at. Big city casino or small rural type of casino, like offshoot, off the pasture. You got your Vegas, where you're gonna need at least you'll need an agency to get you into certain venue spots, and then you have the offbeat casinos, which I'm not sure how many people in our audience actually knows about them, but there are these like weird off the trail, not really Indian casinos, because even those are fancier, but just like, officially a casino, and there's a stage, and it's so you had somebody give birth on stage who was a guy.
Yeah, so I had 35 volunteers on stage. Of the 35, I think I had like 15-ish were guys. So they gave birth, and the females on stage were their doctors. And they gave birth. And I went down and I asked them, I said, we need to know what gender is your baby? What'd you name it? How big is it? And you heard anything from like legit answers like, we're 8 pounds.
You do that in the, Randy, you do that in the wrong backwards ass area. You'd got somebody laughing at the wrong part. They'd say like, imagine a female doctor. Oh my God. They're like, no, that's nothing funny. There's a man giving birth. No, I got it. It's
well, and honestly, anymore, a lot of the shows that we do, we got to be, we got to follow political correctness, and you never know which gender, how many pronouns to use on stage. So a lot of the older skits, like the men giving birth, we kind of nixed it a little bit. So if we want to go get into that, we do. You're a mythical creature giving birth. And I've had Bigfoot giving birth to cheddar cheese logs, and it gets weird.
No, it's kind of sad. We're at the point where it's just you wonder who would be offended if you just let's use up cartoon characters. You have to use up make believe people. And then they're trying to use their creative juices to find out exactly how they should feel about this, if there is a way to feel about it, if there's any racial undertone to the whole situation. And it's honestly, unfortunately, Randy, it was all that was left for this new generation to rebel against current generation, because We brought the line up to the point where marijuana got legalized.
Yep.
People could openly smoke pot in 2 states, just doing it at the time. And then something started to turn where they're like, I think we've come to the end where now these, the new generation has to find something to separate themselves from the old generation. You can't have everything in common. You need that sense of identity for yourself. So this is what they're doing. They get to the point where they're just like, them, they here.
Yep.
All of you are racist, and someone is going to listen to me.
Yep.
Corporations are like, wait a second, I'm not sure if I have that fucker's money. I don't know if I have their money. I didn't get their money.
Yep.
Let's listen to them so we can get their money.
I have 2 questions going into this because you're saying a lot, and I love every aspect of hypnotism.
Yeah.
Number 1, how did it start out for you?
I talked to a guy.
But that was it. All right.
Yeah,
it was just hypnotism. He was
Did
like,
he hypnotize you that you were a
teach
hypnotist? Is that what happened? He hypnotized you that you were a hypnotist, and this has just all been him, third party?
Right. So funny thing, he did hypnotize me 5 times from freshman year of high school up through college. But I was taking a sports psychology class. I was originally going to be a teacher, and in the sports psych class, homecoming week matched up with the hypnotist coming and the sports hypnosis unit within the class, and he had said during his show that he had worked with athletes, and with the athletes he talked, the Chicago Bears, the year they won the Super Bowl, they talked with about the Bulls in the Dynasty era, and for the class I had to go through and I had to do an interview with somebody for personal preferences. And so I reached out to him and I said, hey, could you talk to me about this? What was supposed to be a 5-minute phone call turned into a 6-hour sit-down face-to-face interview with him in his office. And then he learned about my background with music and wanting to be a teacher and presentation skills. So if you ever want to learn what I did on stage, like that's where the real money's at. Like, I'm going to be a teacher. I'll be just fine. He graduated college and I reached out and I said, hey, if you still want to teach me, I'm willing. He goes, let's do it.
You got sports psychology. Does that involve, player ego or something? I mean, could you
a little bit. The best way that I explain it is if you take a guy from small town Iowa, small town Pennsylvania, a school where they have maybe 500 people that show up to a football game, and they're just a standout athlete. When they get picked up, they say they go to, they go to Michigan. They go play in the big house. And there's 107,000 screaming fans at you.
I totally get where you're going with that, Randy. And I'll just add a little piece on real quick. Zach Wilson, Mormon, BYU. Now you plug him into New York City.
Yep.
And his breakout season on BYU was against non-ranked teams. He seems like a good kid. Mormon can't just I'll just say the only reason I'm going to stress Mormon a little bit is because they're very inclusive as a family unit, and they're not used to a lot of press.
Not to cut you off, Kevin, but a lot of them come from sheltered households. They either come from a charter school.
You're adding to it. Absolutely.
Charter schools or a private school of some sort.
The one quarterback that I've always kept my eye on when he was in college, and he's always been open and honest during interviews, was Brock Purdy at Iowa State, from where you're at. And I was like, well, this kid's totally serviceable the way that he was whipping the ball around. He wasn't overdoing anything. He was making logical plays, but his background is more pedigreed towards you can insert this kid in any lineup, and I think he'll be perfectly fine. He doesn't have to be the star, but he feels like he's got his own talent level psychologically. So when the Jets were taking Zach Wilson, I'm like, I already knew, like, this is not going to work out. Trevor Lawrence had always just been a winner. And now you're putting him in some dumpster fire of an organization of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then the Jaguars said, don't worry, we got Urban Meyer to figure this out. And I'm like, Urban Meyer, first of all, Urban Meyer, what a scumbag. This guy always gets sick whenever he starts losing. You notice that? Every time. And he's got a mystery disease. I don't know what it is. But whenever something flares up when he gets on a 2-game losing streak, he's like, we wouldn't have been losing if it wasn't for my flare-ups. Plus, these fucking kids are terrible. he gets down there, he ends up kicking the kicker. Dude ends up hanging out at strip clubs. He was just probably the worst person to develop a quarterback. Why Ohio State didn't have many good quarterbacks. Like Cam Newton flew out of Florida to go to Auburn so that way he could be developed better than what Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer has no track record besides making sure he can funnel money through agencies to kids.
I was going to say that was better cash on the back end.
He had a lot of back-ass cash flow right there. And Sparky's got something on the big board right there to break us up a little bit. Oh, my leg! I need a small town massage. And if people haven't seen that, that is Deshaun Watson's latest injury. Now, he hasn't played the same since he hasn't gotten 12 massages a day from 13 different women. Sometimes it's 2-on-1,
Higher.
He'll be the comeback player.
A little bit higher in 1 week. I mean, the guy just hasn't been able to move as much.
Very stiff, very stiff.
And these massage therapists, I tell you what, I've never seen some. Never mind. I'm not gonna go calling people hookers anymore. I swear. Oops. The only problem I have with the Browns right now is they're like reluctant to use
paid. The official word is paid escort women.
Paid escort. So Jameis Winston walks in there, third quarterback on the goddamn block for some odd reason. Former first overall pick from Florida State, serviceable as hell for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe got knocked on the head a couple too many times. He gets in there and his hand starts shaking. He's wanting to eat a fucking win. Whips a touchdown right off the rip. And I don't get why it's Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz. You have these guys. You have these talented quarterbacks, just $1 million quarterbacks. The Steelers were from Pennsylvania. The Steelers did something super smart. They said, how much you want for Jameis Winston? They said, Kenny, you're going to need to learn a little bit more. And he said, I thought I already knew everything. They're like, shut the fuck up. Go to Philly. We just need a 7th round pick. And they said, what can we get for this? They went bargain shopping. And the Bears were like, you can have Justin Fields.
Yep.
And they're like, here you are, a 7th round pick. And they're like, what else can we buy? And the Denver Broncos are like, we have this 5'5" Russell Wilson. I'm only calling him 5'5" because that's his actual height. I looked up Mike Tomlin's height. He's 5'7". Dude's got 2 inches on Russell Wilson. Dude's 5'5". I don't even blame Sean. I don't even blame Sean Payton for like walking in the room and looking at him being like, no, not a chance. Not gonna happen. Sorry, pal. But no, the Steelers did something nice. They buckled down. They said, let's reset the quarterback market a little bit and give you $1 million, give you $1 million. Now they have 2 great options at quarterback currently because Russell Wilson was playing great in the second half, not in the first half, but in the second half of last night's game. Randy, who is your football team that you follow if you follow football?
So I'm a Packers. I'm Packer backer.
They're so surprisingly good. I keep betting against them this year. I just, they have Malik Willis to back up Jordan Love. They have a triple threat wide receiver wise when it comes to Reed, Dobbs, and Watson. Christian Watson always seems to get hurt, but then you got that other dude. I couldn't tell you his name right off the rip. Sparky, flip that board around there, my man. Okay, Russell, you are in. Thanks, Dad. I mean, Coach, how short he is. That is an actual depiction of how short he actually is. He is child size. Which
it's like Sparky was there. It's like he was there. He knew
he was there. Yeah. The only coach that would give Russell Wilson a really, fighting chance was Pete Carroll. And as soon as Russell Wilson felt loved, he stabbed him in the back. As soon as Russell Wilson got drafted, he broke up with his girlfriend. You see the character flaw there? As soon as Russell Wilson doesn't need you anymore, he's off to get a paycheck. And that's just that's because he's a dangerous guy, according to the sandwich that Subway based it around. I don't know who looked more like a pedophile, Jared or Russell Wilson holding a sandwich. And I know Jared, he got charges for that, that kind of stuff. Like he got charged, but then Russell Wilson with that pitch, it's like, you're doing anything dangerous? Like, what the fuck? What director said to himself, that's the take. Absolutely amazing, guys. Let's wrap.
The fact that they decided to name it the Danger Witch too, like, or they're thinking, that's a great name for a sandwich. Who can we get? And they're like, Russell Wilson. He seems dangerous.
You could get the claymation version of Rodney Dangerfield. and just fucking do it that way if you want. I don't know. There's
No,
it's great that he's as dangerous as a wet bag of clothes, but
yep.
Wet bag. Yeah.
I gotta ask, Randy. You said that you had your mentor, of course, and he taught you how to do not necessarily the techniques of how to do hypnotism and stuff like that, but not necessarily is there anything that you can teach us, but what would be, and not to say like what is your technique when it comes to hypnotism? Are you more of a I know there's a touch point for most people.
Oh, sure.
But then there's also like a keyword phrase, and then there's also the a light technique or having somebody stare at a particular item.
Yep. So actually I got my start. My mentor, he was all eye fixation, which is staring at a light. And he, when he first saw me, we had honestly, it was like a little $5 globe thing we got at a truck stop. He goes,
Nice.
"Oh, I gotta restock," and he just bought a whole stack of them, like 9 of them. I'm like, okay, cool, like that works. So that's what I initially used. And one of the shows we were doing our sound check, and he pulled it out of his bag and he dropped it and it broke. He goes,
No!
He goes, "Shit, I'm going to teach you something new tonight. Watch this." So he's doing the induction part, which is putting people down into hypnosis.
Mhm.
And he told them to stare at the spotlights. So we're on a bright stage, and they're just staring directly at these spotlights. They're like 20, 30 feet in the air, and it works. When you do that, it's you cause eye fatigue, so you cause them to kind of get drowsy initially. The touch thing I don't do a whole lot for I don't like prison, so I don't want to go there and have someone say he touched me wrong.
So you've been there before and you didn't like it. 1 out of 5 stars, right?
Yeah, I took a tour. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Nah, that's right. But they do have cups of tea there.
Yeah. And then,
I've seen all the particular techniques as far as hypnotism is concerned, because I've always loved the technical difficulty of not necessarily the arm tug, but also at I guess it's like right at the back of the neck somewhere, or in the shoulder area.
So you'll see some hypnotists, they'll almost come up, they'll grab you on your shoulder, kind of like that pressure point area right there.
Yep.
So that's one spot, and that's more so to know that like you're following my suggestions now, not like do this or I'm going to squeeze.
Oh yeah, of course.
Back to the next other one, you can touch the tops of their head. When you do the arm pull, the arm tug, that's almost like you're tripping the brain. So you get them relaxed and you say focus, focus, and you yank and you say sleep, and in that moment they'll drop if they're in a trance-like state already.
Sure.
I do things a little bit different than a lot of hypnotists. So a lot of them, you almost see 2 different types of stage shows. You have the types of guys who think like, I've got these magical powers, watch this, I can control you. And then you have guys like who are like, hey, let's have some fun and mess with you a little bit. But I also my shows, I use a lot of music in the background. So if you think about this, any given moment in your life, you're watching TV, a movie, if you're riding in a car, there's some kind of background noise, and we're just accustomed to it. So when I first got started, I used the background noise. I pulled a karaoke track of Nelly Just a Dream. So I thought, oh, that's a fun play on words, and and I like the beat, and I looped it. So it was about 8 minutes, and my induction takes about 3 to 5 minutes to get through. And also I try to get as many people involved as I can, because if you're sitting from the audience and you don't know anybody, if you're in one of those podunk towns that happens to have a casino and a great buffet that you show up to a show, if you don't know anybody on stage,
where somebody screams, "Why is the jukebox working?"
If you have 35 volunteers on stage, you can relate to one person. Like, that looks like my crazy uncle. I'm going to watch this guy because he's hilarious. Whereas if you have, there's some people, they'll have, 20 people on stage and they whittle it down to 4. And to me, that's just, you're asking too much of your volunteers, for one. And 2, if I can't resonate with someone in the audience or someone on stage from an audience perspective, I'm going to lose interest and I'm going to want to leave.
Well, Randy, there's also stage comfortability too. So if you yourself, you are very comfortable on stage and you are bringing fish out of water, just like waving around, hey, I'm a part of the show. Yep. You're in 100% control. I've seen magicians do it. It's a fun tactic to use, especially with, it brings crowd play to a whole new level.
Yep.
And do you ever use the backwards counting area, where you're just like on the count of 10. On 10, we're just, I want you to focus on the number 10. You count backwards from 10. Now we're on to 9. You're going to be a little bit deeper.
Well, the word manipulation. I love word manipulation.
Yep. So when I do my shows, if I need to, I'll go down. The most I'll go is from 5 to 1. Otherwise, you start rolling into progressive muscle relaxation, which is extremely boring. And I'm convinced personally, as a hypnotist, that progressive muscle relaxation only works because they get bored and they fall asleep. It's one of those things. If you see a hypnotist that starts at 20,
how I met my wife,
yeah. That's why I'm still with mine.
I thought that was Wayfair.
Yeah, it was Wayfair. Yeah.
But yeah,
having a Janisa, please.
Little bit of both, I opened up the dressing drawer. Holy crap! Wow, time to work my magic.
No refunds, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to customer service. They're like, "Sir, just keep the child. Just keep the kid. What's wrong?" And Sparky's got something there on the big board. We always have breaking news for Sparky. Okay, Sparky, why are you using the ice cream truck? The trigger words are chocolatey Claire.
Mr. Softy, by the way. Mr. Softy truck.
Mr. Softy shout out right there.
Nice. Yeah, those trigger words, those are a lot of fun. If you can implement those at the beginning of a show with someone who's deep and ready, and you could say, anytime I say the word hypnosis, you're going to do fill in the blank. And you can have them do some crazy things with it. And it's a fun gag to play throughout the show.
I want to see if you can hypnotize Sparky. Sparky, could you get a little bit closer to the camera like he was like he was wanting before? Maybe a little bit closer to the camera. Maybe today. Maybe like 5 seconds from now. Or, somehow a little bit closer. Do you need him closer, Randy, or no?
Nah, he should be all right.
Okay. Does he need to take his glasses off?
No, he should be good.
All right, your glasses are good there, Sparky. All right, now, Randy, are you? If you're not able to hypnotize Sparky, he might be one of those third type of people we were talking about earlier.
His spelling's on cue. I haven't heard him say y'all yet, so I think we're all right.
He doesn't speak much of it.
Yeah, it's early.
Actually, I could show you something real quick, Spark, if you want to do something real quick. All right, perfect. And actually, for this one, you might want to back up a little bit. Perfect. All right. So, if you real quick, if you want to go ahead and draw a giant 6 with your left hand, just keep drawing a giant 6 with that left hand. Yep, just the big 6 with your left hand. Keep that going with your right foot. And we won't be able to see it in the frame, but draw a 9 with your right foot. Left hand is a giant 6. Right foot is a 9. Are you doing it? Are you struggling at all? Is it good? You're doing it? Well, you got a professional here. He's able to 69 on camera. That's pretty good. That's not bad.
Right, there you go. Yeah, that's it, Sparky.
Yeah, you can keep doing it if you want. It's a good exercise. Rotate your hands if you need to. But
who would have thought Sparky would be good at 69?
Right.
Yeah, he did the whole thing, and he lasted longer than I thought he would.
Right?
Yeah,
he wanted
exactly.
He wanted to keep going. We cut him off.
Jesus. That's way too funny.
Like
Randy, if not to say if what's your method of communication as far as anybody trying to book anything through you?
Yeah, my website's probably the best way to go. It's just randyandrewslive.com. And it's they can reach out there. They can find me on Facebook, on social media. And actually, for the people who are out there who are listening or watching, if they've never seen a hypnosis show and they want to watch it, I made the call about a year or so ago to start posting full shows on my website and up on my YouTube channel. That way, people can watch it. I do take the induction out because, that's me. So on the YouTube channel, the induction is out, so you can't be hypnotized watching my shows. But you can watch anywhere from I think my shortest show 45 minutes that I have posted upwards of like an hour and 25, and it's mostly college shows. So there's a lot of high energy.
You got more accolades here besides just that. You are a DJ, MC, motivational speaking. Looking for engaging and impactful motivational speaker? Look no further. Whether it's corporate keynote talks, high school assemblies, or interactive workshops, my motivational speaking services are designed to captivate and motivate. As a seasoned speaker, my most popular talks focus on leadership, decision-making, and cultivating a positive mindset. In corporate keynote talks, I provide actionable insights, and inspire teams to excel. During high school assemblies, I connect with students, encouraging them to make positive choices and lead with confidence. My workshops are interactive and customizable, offering practical tools for personal and professional growth. That sounds amazing right there, especially with teens. They don't know what to do. They have no idea. They say to themselves, do I do heroin? Do I do cocaine? You can tell them maybe you don't do either one of those.
Yeah.
You know, because you go with the sleepy crowd, you go with the crowd that's never sleeping. And
I mean, I think you've covered every aspect of coaching.
Yeah, perhaps. It's
Nutritionist, certified trainer, wellness coach, fitness instructor.
And what a lot of people, like it sounds cliche, but you really have to be able to do everything to keep yourself continuously booked. So it's not that you're better in one area and worse in another area. You have to be equally great in all areas, or because honestly, there's a lot of competition out there. There's so much competition where you see we got Randy Andrews right now on the Podguyz podcast, right? And behind him is his competition of 50 Randy Andrews that are ready to take his spot and undercut him for less money. And that's just the way entertainment works. And you're not always getting the better deal for less money. Sometimes
it's very much the same thing in the podcasting game as well.
Yeah, sometimes you're not getting the worst deal by somebody offering less money. I've been doing stand-up comedy for 15 years now, and acting for about 20 plus years. I've never had to do that myself. I've always been professional enough to never like go in on somebody's show or see that somebody has a show coming up and say, hey, I have a crew. We'll do it for less money. We'll save you. Poets, though. Watch out for those poets. As much as they talk about their feelings, they don't give a shit about anybody else's feelings about their own. They will undercut you. They're snakes in the grass, little scumbags that I can't stand them. For the most part, I can listen to a poem, and then I'm thinking to myself, whenever you go to one of those poetry slams, I can always think, I wonder who lost all. Woman, right? The whole, Mike Myers. So I married an axe murderer type of poets that were thriving in the 90s. And then HBO had their series out for a little bit of time, but they are attempting to make a comeback. And I'd rather listen to mimes all day than have, I know Tony mimes can speak, but I'd rather listen to mimes all day than hear somebody's difficulty with their emotional growth. Like write a song, learn an instrument, tell a joke. Poetry is just the beginning of your artistic expression into one of those fields, in my opinion. But what the fuck?
Not to go on an off track, but I just watched the video recently of Michael Jackson. Okay. Michael Jackson was on stage and he was talking about how he as a professional, of course, was trying to get out of his contract with the record company. And he was making his own brand and he was making his own record label. And he had one more box set that he had to kind of promote and get out there to the fans. And he said, you know what? I write 1,000 songs. 1,000 songs he writes. He only needs one, maybe even two to go on that box set. And he goes, out of those 1,000 songs, out of those 1,000 tries, one will make it. And that's true. It's very, very true, especially in the entertainment world. Not necessarily that you live or die by the one particular show that makes you great. It raises you to stardom.
Sometimes you want, me and Tony were talking before even, like throughout the week. And we're putting together a portfolio of the greatest hit shows that we had. Do we go highest rated? Do we go our favorite shows? And then it gets you, really introspective of just exactly how many shows we've done. And it's just like, holy crap, wait a second now. We've accumulated so much. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have, Randy, you're a really fun guy all around. We have had just the opposite on this show before, where you're just waiting like, what the heck? How is this person even doing anything? But here is one of your 5-star reviews, Randy. It says Randy was very personable, caring, and attentive when working with us. He took all the info we gave him and ran with it. The show couldn't be any more perfect. Thanks, Randy, for the awesome show. Mylan N wrote that 5-star review. All of your clients gave 5-star reviews here. Out of 170 reviews, there is no one that gave less than a 5-star review. That is impressive.
Yeah.
I can't even find a bed on Amazon that has a 5-star review. So my hat's off to you there, my man. You do have trolls out there that do want to give like a 1-star review. You have avoided the trolls, which is a great thing. It's very tough to do. In the world of internet ambiguity, you have risen above with 175-star reviews. Tony, your take.
Well, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, seeing as how this particular professional endeavor has taken you to a certain place, following that full time, is that the grand scheme?
That's actually what I'm doing right now. This is full time for me.
It's national tour. Boom.
Yep. National tour. I go, and it's kind of fun because I get to travel through different markets. So getting back into school, August, September, October, it's colleges. November, December, January is.
Now, is that where you find not necessarily most of the clientele, but because it caters to such a specific age group? Of course,
not necessarily. It's kind of it's the ebbs and flows of entertainment. You find that within hypnosis, I'm sure stand-up comedy is fairly similar too. You get to go through your different seasons. So it's college season's wrapping up, corporate season's coming in. You get a little downtime between end of January, first part of March ish. There's some conferences that kind of get in with high school crowds, and then
we get with the there's some. February Valentine's Day shows. Have you ever been a part of one of those where somebody likes to throw out these? I don't know whoever got this concept down. I've never felt comfortable with it. Where they're like, pay $50,
Evan, you can't force anyone to fall in love.
Get a dinner. Get a dinner comedy show. You get a dinner together. So you're in a room with all these other people ready to watch a comedy show or whatever the hell. And everyone's already had their dinner. You're getting ready to perform. And, certain parts of the room smell like dinner is farting, out of, it's like, it's kind of tricky because you just caught everyone after they're done eating. And they're like, oh, God, I am so ready to not do anything and be unresponsive.
Well, you get dinner and a nap.
Yeah.
Dinner. You got some people. That's Valentine's Day shows.
I've done a few Valentine's. And actually, the fun one is so I do the day before Thanksgiving because everyone comes back. I've done some Black Friday shows, but those are they're usually tired from shopping. They want to come out. The fun one for me though is St. Patrick's Day. You have people who come out, alcohol is the oldest hypnotist, as we know, and you get a few drinks in people or a few 30 drinks in people, and I don't even have to do anything. I'll just let them come out, take the microphone, and here's your show. They're hypnotized. But those
now here in our wonderful state of Pennsylvania, we have the second largest St. Patty's Day parade in the country in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our claim to fame. Besides being the Electric City,
people only started taking COVID seriously when they canceled the St. Patrick's Day parade. They're like, whoa.
Yeah, we can't go to bars.
Yep.
What the hell is going on here?
Between the electric trolleys and the rampant alcoholism.
Yeah. Got to be safe,
That's true. That is true. So is there not necessarily even more of the mass events, but are there private events that you do as well, or is it?
Yeah, I've done some weird ones. I did a celebration of life show, which the person, they loved going on cruises, and like their highlight was, I love going to see the hypnotist. So I did a celebration of life.
Is that like a funeral?
It was a funeral.
It's like a funeral.
You might be brought there for the wrong reason. Like, could you hypnotize him that he's not dead?
Can you bring him back, please? So they were
Yeah, fucking Herman
Wait,
Munster
can you
coming there
hypnotize
sometime
the
to do
whole
this
audience to think that he was still alive?
Yeah. So we did. It was the guest of honor, I guess, was cremated, and it was like 2 weeks after, and they just wanted to celebrate their life. And I'm like, okay. On the flip side, I've done bachelorette parties. I've done birthday parties. The smallest crowd I ever did was 8 people. I showed up. They said, "Yeah, we're gonna have like 50 to 60." Like, okay. For a decent show, I try to get 10 to 20% of the guests to come up and volunteer, unless it's a huge crowd. Yeah, I had 8, and I said, "Okay, guys, we can either get half of you up and half watch." And they said, "No, we all want to try." Like, well, I said, if all 8 go into hypnosis, it's the best show no one's seen. I need paid up front, guys. So,
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, there's just some weird shows that you kind of run into. Fairs and festivals are always different. I did a couple county fairs in the middle of nowhere, and my audience was mostly kids that were like 6, 7, 8 years old, which I personally don't hypnotize kids that young because, I don't feel right about it. I drive up in a white van as it is, and I don't want any questions. So
I guess my stupid question is,
why won't my kid leave your van? What did you do?
the Wi-Fi is
I'm
good in
very
here.
obsessed with you.
You're like, I don't know. Sparky's got something on the big board right there. And tonight you will be hearing the jokes of Kevin Neary. Hey, let your food get cold. Listen to me. Put your food down. Some people, and that's a real thing, Sparky. Some people are loud chewers, and they can't hear the show, and everyone's eating at the moment. There have been now, Randy, have you ever been to such an unorganized show where somebody that set that show up said, "Randy, I don't want you to worry about a thing. We got this whole thing taken care of." You get there, and about 10% of the way through, you're like, what the fuck was all that talk about? Because this guy.
They promised a sound system, and they got there's a college I went to, and they said, "Hey, our auditorium is being renovated. We should have told you. You're in the cafeteria." I'm like, okay, cool. I said I need a sound system. They pulled out a bullhorn. And
great.
That's not a sound system. That's fucking hilarious, though. But I swear to God, I had similar. Okay, not a sound system, but it was. Right. It's supposed to be an outdoor show. I said we're gonna need lighting. Owner says, "Don't worry about it. We got lighting." I said, "Are you sure you know what kind of lighting we'll need?"
And by the way, this is on a farm, by the way.
Yo, man, he had one fog light.
Ooh.
He had one fog light, right? So I'm like,
he had a floodlight with the blink system on it.
No, he literally, I swear to God, I'm not going to name the place, but he had one fog light. I said, dude, this is not going to work. He's like, "Oh, I can see you." There's 80 people in the crowd. Like, when are they going to, and I could hear the mutters of, when are they going to turn the lights on? Why don't they turn the lights on? Fucking everybody had the same, like, "We can't see you." Yep. Like, just, Joe Bryan did that show, and he said, "Everybody, just pretend that you're blind, okay? Just everybody
pretend you're in a Zoom meeting and nobody has a camera."
That was before Zoom, but yeah, the faultiness of preparation. I don't trust anybody. Some people I will, but I don't really trust many people. I will be there before the show even starts. 3 hours, never again of just, we just need you to get here, do your thing. Everything's taken care of because no one knows what they're doing. I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced we're in the year 2024 and the government does not know how to use email. I'm going to fucking repeat that. They have no idea how to use email, and they like it that way for some odd reason. It's just, you can't trust certain venues. Now, Randy, has there ever been just the opposite happen to you where they say, "Hey, we got everything taken care of," and you get there and you're just like, "Whoa, this is good." Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I actually did a show here back in August. I show up and the guy's like, "Hey, I'm the new sound guy for the auditorium here. I don't really know sound, but I got lights." And I said, "Well, my sound check's easy. Got a microphone, we hooked in, knocked it out of the park." And he goes, "Do you need any special lighting?" And I go, "You do what you want." This guy, he went in the back, he pulled out 2 fog machines. Had like, it looked like a concert. I mean, either Snoop and Willie were back, but the place was fogged up. And there's I did one dancing thing during my show. And this guy, he had moving heads going. He had the down lights playing, and he was just bumping along. And it was all just out of nowhere.
That's
I was like,
very cool. He
I
knew
said,
what
that was
he
awesome.
knew his specialty. He knew what he didn't know.
Yep.
And if people were more open like that during, especially, so he actually cared. He didn't, say like,
Yeah.
oh, I know what that's
Yep.
that's very helpful all around, man. Especially lighting does add a lot to the show.
Yep.
Not multiple color. Well, you can do multiple color lighting for intro sake, for some events, but yeah, the Sparky's got something there on his.
Wait, before he goes into
He's
that,
been firing
Randy,
away.
have you ever gotten hit with, hey, you should do it for the exposure?
Oh, the exposure payment. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. There's the look.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, more times than not. Which what gets me, I don't mind the exposure. If there's a fundraiser where I can say, hey, write me a check for this, I'm gonna give it right back to you as a donation. It's I'm helping you, you're helping me. I'm gonna get footage out of it. That's fine. What gets me is the pay to play. Like, hey, I got a stage, you can come perform. Like, cool. Here's my fee. Like, actually, here's our fee for you to use our stage. Like, ooh. There's one they wanted to hit me up for $3,500 to come do my hour show. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Unless you're charging and picking up at the door.
Well, that was the thing. So they charged me to go for the exposure, charged me the $3,500, and then they got 100% of the door too. And
that's fucking crazy.
They did say that they would cover marketing expenses, so I didn't have to worry about that. But the rest of it, though, like, come on, guys, like I'm good.
So I guess the idea from that is you can be honest about where you performed, when in reality you can lie for free, and none would be the wiser. There are too many people, like there are those situations I've run into, man, where they're called bringer shows, and I'm just as honest as possible on the phone with these guys. I'm always about the listen, man, I'm not gonna bring 2 or 3 or 4 people up there. I'm not gonna pay for stage time, because I'm gonna get up there, I'm gonna kick some ass. It's gonna be a great time for the show. If you want me there, that's great. If you don't, you can find somebody else to do it. It's not a problem for me. But I'm just telling you, I can get you 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm not going to name any names, but here, get up to a show. It was supposed to be a bringer show. Everybody's got somebody. I don't got anybody. And here, there were some people that didn't show up for the show. Like we're missing 3 people. Yep. So that's a pretty big impact.
See, I feel in the hypnotist world, not necessarily. It's very much coinciding with the comedy world as well.
Yeah.
But I think people try to take advantage of entertainers in general.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And the fun part, Randy, I'll just finish up with this story real quick, is that everyone was offered to do more time, and they said no, because they prepared for their amount of time. They're prepared for 5 to 7 minutes, quick clips, New York City. And I'm like, dude, I can do 11, I can do 15 right now, I can do 20. What do you want? So, Julius comes up, he says, well, how about you just do 9? And I'm like, okay, cool. 2 minutes later, he says, probably 13. So instead of 13, I ended up doing 16 minutes, no problem. People, didn't go over their time. People were going under their time. So the 16 turned into 17. And, I got saved for the second last, got signed up that night. And no, Tony, you're absolutely right. The whole entertainment aspect is, and we've brought this up before, Andy, the idea is, if you told the whole world, stand up if you want to be rich and famous, right? The whole world will stand up. Now they say, okay, tell me if everyone here is comfortable being rich and famous for only $100,000 a year. Everyone's still standing. In fact, the only time people sit down is when you say, how about you'll be famous, but you won't be rich, and there'll be no money involved. Then you have only half of people sit down. Then you start getting them into like, hey, how will we charge you for this, charge you for that, charge you for this, charge you for that? We'll give you a class here, a class there, a class, sort of thing like that, where it ticker tacks backwards. By the time you know it, the entertainment industry that does push up said star, the star has just as much talent as the 50,000 behind it, but they are bought and paid for, and they will do what they're told.
Yep.
And I think that's called a Diddy party. I don't know. Sparky.
It is. Not wrong.
No, it's I think they
Marky,
call
what do
it
you got, brother?
his white party, which they had hey, the the young I'm not fucking around. Nope.
Hey, the yum yum sauce is gone. That's it. I'm going home. Of course, that goes straight to Chef Kawasaki.
Chef
and his
Kawasaki.
comedy shows.
Yeah.
Hibachi.
I'll give the guy some credit. He has paid comedians. That's all the credit. That's all he's getting there.
Yeah.
The
That's all that matters. It's just the payout.
I don't know, man. When you start telling people that bought tickets that they can't come into the show because there's not enough room. I mean, there's a lot of unorganized shit going on.
Well, you're right. You're right.
I got him. That's one person.
There's a lot. There's a lot to
Right.
unravel.
I got him blocked on Facebook. I'm not even worried about him. It's just I was getting these messages like, "Hey, how dare you talk about me? How dare you tell the truth?"
Now,
Terrible guy.
Randy, as an entertainer,
Yeah.
how important is it to have a social media manager right now, as far as taking care of YouTube, taking care of all their social media devices, getting your name out there, advertising,
Right.
always nailing it every week.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if it's as important as it is just being coherent and staying up with it. So all my social media, video editing, everything I take care of in-house with myself. I use it, I'll go back and I'll watch my shows like, oh, I should have said this instead of that. I've got 4 cameras set up at all my shows. So I'm getting different angles and seeing what the volunteers are doing. So I do all the video editing on the back end for myself. One is for coaching up. And then just as far as the content and all that, if you don't know what you're doing, it is drastically important you hire someone out that knows what they're doing. Same thing with website design. I've seen too many websites out there that are they're kind of janky. And I've got a couple broken links on mine as I'm saying that now. But it's one of those things where if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not staying up on your social media, if you're not staying relevant with it, that's the best form of
I'm telling you right now, Randy, I'm checking out your website. It is very nice. It is it's very professionally done. Top border is done nice. The R on the side might be a little overdoing it, but it's okay. It's good. And then you got the drop. You got the 3 lines for the Dropbox. It's not overdone. You got home, services, media, reviews, contacts, a quick video to get to, a really good picture of yourself with the microphone going like this sort of thing, portraying it gives it a tapered version.
So are you trying to say that Randy's not an ugly guy?
It's a tapered version of Shane Gillis. Take it how you want.
Yeah,
it looks like in that picture he's and
wow.
then a quick biography. Hey everyone, I'm Randy Andrews. This is something Tony should have read.
I don't think you look anything like Shane Gillis.
I said a tapered version. Sony, the word tapered was there. A tapered version.
Shane Gillis even said to himself, he's like, I dodged Down syndrome.
I'm not sure Tony knows what the word tapered means. So
I know. Well, I know.
All right.
I get
it's a nice biography here, but you're absolutely right. And if you're also looking for another website to go to, you can go to thepodguyzpodcast.com. That is right. Podguyz, thepodguyzpodcast.com, where you can find all your favorite merch for the show. Support the show. Buy yourself a hoodie, a t-shirt, hats, mugs, Sparky's drawings we can all put on canvases, t-shirts, all that and more. We bring comedic genius to a plateau riddled fucking wasteland of podcasts. Every week we bring you all of your favorite stories plus interesting guests such as Randy Andrews every week. This is not
professional hypnotist Randy Andrews.
This is not easy stuff to bring everybody. So if you enjoy the podcast, buy a t-shirt. If you don't enjoy the podcast, buy a t-shirt. Gives you something to burn, something to hate. And if there's one thing people have stayed alive, hating and loving, those two extremes, both Castro has lived to the age of 98 years old, and Mother Teresa lived a long time as well. And she was she's now a saint. I guess they deemed her a saint. I don't know how that was done, but they just they did it. But no, Randy, this website is very nice. You have a good picture right there too, tapered. This is the way you do it. It's tapered to continue.
Wait, he said you said a key phrase, Randy, and I'm not to kind of cut Kevin off. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You said volunteers to help you out with the show. Do you usually use family, friends to like help you out with the shows?
So there's two types of volunteers. There's the volunteers that are volunteering to come up and be hypnotized.
Hmm.
And then you have the volunteers who are working behind the scenes for you, whether it's setting up a BOR table, taking tickets, ushering people in, the sound, the lights. So if I have an opportunity to bring to have a volunteer come up and help me,
Sure.
typically what it is hauling equipment in and then getting cameras set up. I've done this long enough on my own that I can roll in, set everything up within half an hour, be ready to go on stage and knock out an hour and a half show. If I have the opportunity to have someone come up with me, if nothing else, conversation in the car, because the car rides can be a little brutal, a little long.
Oh,
But the volunteers that come along to help out, it's a lot of roadie work. But honestly, the shows, and I even tell the sound guys at the venues, let's get the mic set, let's get the volume set. I've got a remote control that controls the music levels. Once that's done, sit back and watch the show. We're all set. So I try to be as hands-on myself and not have other people jump in. Not that I'm a control freak by any means, but it's one of those things. You want the help to sit back and watch a show and enjoy themselves.
Sparky, what do you got on the big board to end the show, buddy?
Yeah.
You will buy our merchandise.
You got to spin the board,
69.
Sparky.
Yeah, spin the board, spin the board. You will buy
Focus on the middle of the 69.
Look at that. See, Sparky's right in the number 69. He's doing it right now. He's got it down.
Hasn't stopped since.
He's ready for date night. Yeah,
He's been 69ing on the screen since he started.
He's been fucking for a long time.
Randy, if people were going to get in touch with you, how would they do it, sir?
They can,
One more time.
best way is either website randyandrewslive.com or look me up on any social media platform at @randrewslive, and go back, watch some shows, check out the content on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, I guess, YouTube, all the goods.
Things, yeah.
No, Randy, if you were going to give some sort of advice for people getting into the hypnotist world, how would people necessarily get started? Or is it just word of mouth and then you have to show interest in it and then find kind of a mentor?
So honestly, the best way to do it is to find a good mentor. There's a lot of hypnotists out there that they're offering, I want to say, second-rate trainings, but there's a lot of hypnotists that are out there that'll say, hey, I'll teach you how to do this. And they'll take your money, they'll teach you how to hypnotize someone. But for me, I got lucky. The guy that trained me, he was in the business for over 35 years at the time, was doing well over 200 shows a year. And he taught me not only how to hypnotize someone, but also what to do once someone was hypnotized, how to build a show so that it was funny and energetic. And then also the business side on the back. If we could do this all as a hobby, I could teach you guys over a matter of 5 to 10 minutes how to hypnotize somebody. And there's YouTube videos out there how to do it, but it's what to do once someone's there, a little bit of science behind it. And then the business side, if you got a cool trick, you got to get paid for it. So learning how to go out there and market yourself, the proper ways to advertise, and then So I would say the best way to get into it is to find a good mentor. I'm always available for questioning. If anyone's out there that wants to learn, just hit me up. I'm always good for a phone call.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. Sparky, where can you find us, sir?
You can find us on every single major streaming platform, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer, CastBox, Pocket Cast, GeoReo, Facebook Live Video, Amazon.
You always say iTunes, but you never say iTunes.
I said iTunes.
No, you never do. You always mess up.
Amazon.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcast. Yeah.
You can find us wherever you stream on your favorite streaming device system app.
If you're lonely and feeling bored, and you just punch your name up and you can find us anywhere.
Yeah, just Google us. We're there. Randy, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule as well. We always appreciate it. I love how you you automatically were like, yeah, man, I'll be happy to do the show. I love it.
And that's the way it is. The only reluctant people are people that, aren't as professionally sharpened as Randy actually is right now. And you could, bottom of our hearts, man, this was a lot of fun, right, Tony? Unless
no,
it wasn't
horrible,
fun
horrible.
and we were hypnotized. Maybe
Never again, Randy.
And he just did the thing.
You'll wake up in 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God! I was
Damn it.
touched.
I knew it.
Oh,
I knew we were
Lord.
Hypnotized.
Father
God,
O'Malley, get away from
again.
me. Never mind, it's okay. It's actually pretty good. No,
What am I doing with no pants on?
run.
Sparky.
Oh, Randy,
guys, we are the
yeah.
Podguyz Podcast. Make sure you tune in every Monday night, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. I'm Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, the ever-loving Picasso, Les Sparky. Guys, tune in next week. We got some great guests coming up. As always, thank you very much. Big shout out, Randy Andrews. Check him out. Go to his website. Book him for hypnotist sessions. Awesome job, man. Thank you very much, guys. We'll catch you next week. Have a great one. Bye.